Hey people, Voice talking to you. Today we're taking a look at a game called Techtonica. Now, the style of this is probably going to seem pretty familiar to a lot of you. If you check the title, you saw that I feel like this is somewhere between Subnautica and Satisfactory. It's got the exploration elements of both of those games, but lacks a lot of the survival mechanics that you'd find in something like Subnautica. However, the automation portion of it is very satisfactory. It's all 3D, it's all underground, and it bases itself a lot on finding new elements, new materials, and old technology to rebuild this underground sort of civilization that you're finding yourself on. It's got a really neat premise to it, but it's still in very early access. So there's still a lot left to do in terms of the developers, but I think you'll very much like the style of it. Now, I've played Techtonica for about an hour and a half. So I have a feel for the controls and how the various mechanics feel, but we're going to start a new game just so I can show you the intro and some of the story stuff, and then I'll switch probably about halfway through to my other save file so I can show you some of the later game automation and some of the other areas in the game.
Warning, structural integrity failing. Emergency resuscitation of all personnel initiated.
That's just me when I wake up in the morning.
Exit this facility and report to Production Terminal Lima.
Alright, so your flashlight is always on in this game because it's pretty dark for the most part.
Your medical status is diagnostic failure.
You'll notice we are the only one.
Officer for unknown.
Excuse me. You'll notice we're the only one in these tubes. So I don't know where everybody else is, or if they just haven't added in the various corpses that would be lined here yet. But you'll already notice the like bioluminescence, the way everything sort of glows and has this kind of otherworldly feel to it is very Subnautica. Even the mushrooms on the walls, very Subnautica.
Identified. The Assembled Nations Industrial Expedition to the planet of Calyx.
Calyx is the planet we're on right now. Oh, the pickaxe. To me, it looks a lot more like a climbing pick. Yeah, so anybody familiar with survival games at all will understand that that sound, that's not a great digging sound. This doesn't feel good. They've updated the animation since the last time I've played, but for a game where you're going to be doing a lot of digging like this, you want that animation, you want that crunchy feeling where striking materials feels like you're breaking stuff, like you're smashing through. If you want to take a look at some of the good examples, games like Enshrouded does a really good job, Deep Rock Galactic does a really great job. Those are some great examples.
Can you hear me? Your suit can't transmit a voice or ID signal, but my sensors are indicating you're out there. First things first, check in at that production terminal. I need a second set of eyes on how badly damaged it is.
Alright, you see all this stuff? Pretty much all of these plants, you can just scoop them up. And we'll use this stuff to burn in our furnaces. A lot of them, though, so like these here, these produce light. So if you pick up too many of them and burn all of the foliage and stuff, then you have to then build your own lights, or otherwise you can't see crap. The environment is, like, largely destructible. Some of this stuff, like these ramps, are going to be permanent, but a lot of it you can deform the terrain just by digging at it to pick up stuff. I love the style of the plant life in this game. It's absolutely gorgeous, especially for something that's in this early access. Just when you walk out of that and the first thing you see is this big bioluminescent cave, that's fantastic. So these terminals here, you have to put in different materials to repair them. So there's different terminals like this scattered all around the map.
This terminal is cooked. Mining drills were the only buildable tech I could recover. Try crafting a few with materials from some of the chests around here.
Yeah, like I was saying, these terminals, like these different mining bases you'll find around the map, you can repair them with different stuff that you'll need to mine and produce, and that's where the automation comes in. It's not a, like, perfect system, but it's been used before, and it's done well enough, so. Now we've got ourselves a mining drill. I wish there were some like sound effects for the crafting, at least while you're in the inventory. So when I click on this to craft it, this little circle fills up down here, and you just gotta wait for it. You can queue up a bunch of stuff, but there should be some, I don't know, some wrench turning noises, at least while you're in the inventory or when you first click the craft button. You can also mine materials directly, but it doesn't deform the terrain like it would.
If you want to give your shoulder a rest, try building a mining drill or two.
Excuse me.
And you'll want them at both the iron veins and the copper ones.
I was getting to that. So here's how you build stuff. You stick it in your toolbar, very Satisfactory style, and you plop it down. There is a grid in this game. It's not visible unless you're building, but having the grid is very nice. You can sort of see the outlines of the squares and the various input and output points on this thing. There are conveyor belts and stuff we'll build probably here in a few minutes. Let's plop this guy down.
Found. Mining drill. Must be built at an ore vein and fueled with plant matter.
Yeah, so like I was saying, all this stuff that you pick up, that's what we're going to fuel these with. I'm not sure what's in the water. Bioluminescent algae or something, maybe? It's very pretty. It just doesn't really look like water. And here's our copper. So we'll plop another one down over here. And then, let's see. Yeah, so the first like half hour of the game is going to be a lot of snagging plants to fuel your mining machines. So get used to that. Fortunately, you can grab quite a bit of it from just a few minutes. Wait till these produce some ore for us, and we'll take a quick look around the base. There's little like hidden caverns and stuff like this all over the map. So the map is actually a 3D model here. You see these like glowing spots of green over here? Those are like hidden chests and stuff that you can dig to and find. The soundtrack in this game is also really nice. It's very ambient, very relaxing. It's a little repetitive if you play for long periods of time, but aside from that, I really like what they have going here. There's lots of like yellows and purples in their color palette. I really like the color palette. If there's one thing that I'm going to be repeating myself on when I'm talking about this game, it's the visuals. Because, I mean, look at it. It's exactly what you're looking for in a game like this. If you haven't noticed already, there's no like health bar, oxygen bar, anything like that I have. That's because this game doesn't really have survival mechanics. It's not certain if they plan to add it, but I kind of doubt it in general. This seems like a more chill, like automation type game. Oh, these down here, by the way, these are like old facilities. I can't get in here yet because it's waiting for me to repair that terminal back at the beginning. So let's go do that real quick. I was just moving around and I forgot that it looks like somebody was living behind this thing. Having a few brewskis. Kind of a nasty little place to be sleeping, considering all of the, you know, scenery out here, but to each their own, I guess. Ooh, these over here. These are like upgrade points. So I can't use this right now because I don't have a scanner. But you can scan these to get different technologies and stuff, and you can sometimes find them in those points that I mentioned on the map. Look at that. It says to place 3 mining drills. I'm just going to put down 2, because that has given me far more than enough ore to actually fix this thing up. There we go. And that gives us new technologies. An actual...
Good work getting that ore plugged into the terminal, Groundbreaker. If you weren't on my crew, you should have been. For the next phase of repairs, you're gonna need a scanner. The tech for it unlocked automatically when you fix this thing, so open up your crafting menu and build one.
Okay. So this is the technology tree. There's a fair bit in here already. You notice these over here? These are different bases that you can get to. So we're at Lima right now. I've gotten to Victor before in my other playthrough, and each of these areas unlocks new technologies as you upgrade tiers. So we're at tier 2 now, since we've repaired it, and we can make these. These are research cores. They're effectively like science points that you'd find in something like Factorio. In Factorio, you'd make those little bottles that you pump into your research centers.
Warning. Research cores required for activation of new technologies. Refer to Tech Tree for current core manifest.
Yeah, that. So these back here are research cores. When you make them, you plop them down, and that's how you get research points to unlock new technologies. So right now, it wants us to get the smelter, but to do that, we need frames. So let's make some frames. I'll plop down some research cores, and hopefully we can get some conveyor belts going.
Your mining drills won't be able to get you everything you need to build the rest of those research cores. Situations like these are why we always left chests with backup components kicking around.
Well, I've already looted all those chests, so way ahead of you. So you stack these things into clusters.
Research cores constructed. Smelter technology available for activation in Tech Tree.
Also that. So I'm making a scanner right now. The scanner is used... You've seen all that junk laying around? I can scan that stuff to unlock new technologies. So not only do you need the research cores, but you actually need to scan a lot of the technologies that you're going to be unlocking. Now that we have a scanner, I'm sure it's going to say something about that.
Task inbound.
Yep.
Scanner. Scan machine fragments to restore Tech Tree access.
I'm going to scan this rock first. Nope. Okay. How about this? So that thing we just scanned, that Kindle Vine, you see we've now got an entry in our little data bank about it. But it's not just information about the plant. This is where a lot of the game's personality comes in. So you see it's written as a mining blog from this person called Mossy. Mossy is one of the people who used to live down here, who was part of the mining corporation in Sector Victor that was mining this planet we're on called Calyx. Now, these entries come from pretty much everything you scan. And not only does it tell you about the world that you're on, and the operation as a whole, but it also gives you insight into these different characters. And this is where the personality of the game really comes through these various entries. Now, it's a lot of reading, to be fair, but it's kind of fun, actually. They're not just boring, bland entries. They're personalized. A lot of them are talking about different events that are happening, like the break room running out of snacks. There's one that I remember reading about river rocks that had nothing to do with the river rocks. It was just somebody ranting about the fact that their personal rock blog was being overshadowed by the company's more important emails. You see it's written as sort of like a Yahoo answer entry. There's an I'm feeling lucky button too that you can actually hit when you've got a few more entries that'll just take you to a random article. And now we scan everything. I'm absorbing them into my brain with my little
You need to activate recipes in
Wii
the Tech
remote.
Tree before you can craft them. Try doing that now with the smelter.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Pushing. Also, if you've already scanned something, so like if you've already gotten the technology, just like Subnautica, scanning extras of them will break them down into parts you can use to build that item. But yeah, these little data chips that are sitting around, I can scoop these up with the scanner too.
Upgrade module scanned. Additional tech tiers or cores may be required. Open Tech Tree to review.
Can I scan the brewskis? No.
These were training and information terminals, Breaker. Scan them and then open up your databank to take a closer look at anything that hasn't been scrambled or lost.
Well, I'm always scrambled and lost, so... Let's see here. Smelters, long inserters. Junior Groundbreakers Hoe. Welcome to the Long Inserter Expansion Pack. There is a bit of frustration when it comes to these toolbars. I like the fact that there are the separate toolbars, but when you're scrolling through them with the mouse wheel, if you go to the edge here and then go over, instead of going back to 0 on the other side, it switches to the next toolbar. I think that probably should be something that you should be able to toggle on and off, because for somebody who plays a lot of, I don't know, Minecraft maybe, they're not going to be used to that. They're going to be used to scrolling from here to 0, and if they switch to their toolbar, it can be a little frustrating. It's not a big deal, because there's not, like, you know, a whole lot of necessary QuickTime stuff, but it's something you'd want to fix. Alright, we've got our cores put down. Now we can unlock our smelter.
Technology activated. Proceed with construction of smelter.
I will proceed. I'll make 2 of them, even. Let's grab some more plants. I've kind of already not really deforesting, because I don't know if this counts as a forest. I'm sort of like defungling the area. I don't know if fungus would actually be a great fuel source, if I'm being honest.
Task inbound. Smelter.
Smelter.
Supply with ore to produce ingots. Requires plant matter for fuel.
And one over here. Oop. We'll just line them up with our mining. I gotta stop hitting the pause button. Toss some fuel in there, and put in the ore. And now we're smelting. Plop, plop. It's just that easy. And now we wait. We've got our bars. Let's fix this baby up.
Terminal upgraded. Basic automation schematics available.
Indeed. Okay. So now we make containers, inserters, conveyor belts, the kind of stuff that you'd use in Factorio and Satisfactory to move stuff around. Now, let's go ahead and make some conveyor belts. A couple of inserters. Because as much as it looks like it, you can't actually just connect the conveyor belts directly to your machines. You have to put the inserters. Because if I do this, for example,
Conveyor belt.
you'll see
Conveyor belts to build networks between machines.
I know how conveyor belts work.
Inserters are required to transfer items to and from conveyor belts.
Yeah, that. Which means we may actually want to move this a little farther back. Let me get my stuff out of it first. Stop it. That. Stop. Stop it. Fortunately, when you disassemble stuff, you get the item back, so. Oh, the other thing. You notice those markers down there at the bottom? That'll actually tell you, like, the points that you'd want to put in an inserter. So, as I'm placing these, there's markers set down that will tell me where I want to put the stuff. This is going to look a little dumb, but this is how it would work. Isn't that just neato? Man, I wish smelting was this easy in real life. I've built my own forge in my backyard. It's like a rock forge made out of mud, cement, and rocks. And it's not that easy to, you know, smelt metal. I can't just burn grass in there. I've got to actually... I had to buy coal. I had to get a crucible. It's a whole process. Once we've got our smelters going, we can put down our containers. That one's got a light stick inside of it, but that's alright. And now we're storaging. Now we have a place to store our infinite supply of ingots. And also, we have enough random stuff to fix up our terminal.
Beacons are back online. Inspect the radio console right next to the screen. It'll start beeping and blinking in 3, 2, 1.
And there we go.
Signal triangulated. New location added to HUD. Life sign.
Access to all local facilities should be restored, including the one I've been stuck in this entire time. I've set an unlock code to the door. I've got some tech you're gonna like, and I know you wouldn't dream of leaving without me anyways.
Yeah, I'd never do that. The tech she sent us. We can make planters and stuff now. I haven't gotten big into the farming yet, because there hasn't been a need for it, but I'm assuming if you want to keep burning biofuel, you're going to need to. Ah, the mole. So the mole is a mining drill, basically. You'll see in a little bit how important that is, but let's go find Sparks first. Alright, we're back at the entrance.
Sending that signal was more complicated than you think. I don't know why, but these computers feel like second nature now. Sort of the opposite of what I remember it being like. I'd be the one to get you out of a situation like this, instead of the other way around. But I'm not giving up. That's how I know it's still me in here. You'll see.
So Sparks definitely knew us. It's sort of implied that we've lost our memories, because we know nothing about what's really going on. We didn't even know the name of the planet until we stepped out of the pod.
Casualties detected.
Yeah, you didn't quite make it there, did you, bud? This cube, however...
What? You've never seen someone stuck inside an alien cube next to their own dead body before? Whatever I was trying to do here, I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it didn't work out. Hopefully, it was worth a shot. Let's go.
Yeah, so, Sparks is a cube now. There's a bunch of stuff to loot in this building, but aside from the fact that Sparks is an alien cube and, wants us to help them find a way out of here, there's not a whole lot to be learned from this place other than there was some real weird science happening down here. On the bright side, you might be an alien cube, but you do make for a great lantern, I have to say. I like the warm yellow light you emit.
Stop. Scan the fragment in that cage by the stairs before we go. We'll need that tech to get out of the sector.
Okay. Oh yeah, here's the mole.
Local signal deciphered. Sector headquarters. Report to production terminal radio for triangulation.
Sounds like the terminal is fully rebooted. Check the radio console again and see if the beacon it adds to your HUD gives us a clear path home.
Yeah, I don't know if home is down here, but sure. The cube speaketh, and we must obey.
Signal triangulated. New location added to HUD. Production terminal Victor.
Breaker, this is the time to activate the mole in your tech tree and build one. We won't be able to cut through to Sector Victor without it.
Okay. Now, we have mole.
Task inbound. Mole. Manipulates terrain for traversal and composition of industrial construction sites.
Yes, that. Alright. So, this is the mole. It's, well, you'll see. So you see that square, the outlined square? That's your dig range, right? So anything that's marked inside this red square will be dug out. So if I wanted to dig out this wall...
Bulletin. This mole is not authorized to destroy resources, critical infrastructure, or protected environmental areas.
Yeah, but that's not going to stop me. So it's... yeah. The mole definitely needs to be reworked. Not only is it kind of slow, but there's upgrades for that, so that's not my biggest complaint. My biggest complaint is it's very unsatisfying. Not only does it dig in this weird, like, unnatural cube shape, but it's also really hard to dig, like, up or down, which is necessary in the 3D environment that this game has for you. Additionally, the sound is not as crunchy as something that you'd want. I like the visuals. The black hole's really cool, but it's just quiet. You know, you don't even hear the clinking of the pebbles that you're sucking up afterwards. I want to hear the environment get crushed and crunched and squished into various unnatural positions. I want to hear stuff being ripped out of the terrain, you know? That kind of, like, satisfying sound is really important in a game where you're going to be doing a lot of digging. So we'll use our new mole to dig our way through. You see that heat building up? There's ways that you can...
I never got the chance to thank you for getting me out of that facility. I appreciate it. At the time, it seemed like the best thing to do was focus on work and not get caught up in thinking about anything else. I've tried to stay sharp for both of us, but now that we're almost back to the main line, I'll admit it. I was terrified. It'll be good to see some friendly faces. And a few thousand twinkling lights. I'm sure you've got people there too.
Of course. I have people. I have people. Trust. Mushroom. Perish rooms. Oh yeah, a lot of these plants have really nasty side effects. That one's called a perish room because it causes horrible paralysis, pain, and all sorts of other nasty things. On the bright side, it's real pretty. I mean, look at it. Yoink, 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 yoink. Can I... There's no crouch. There's no crouch. Oh yeah. The other issue is you can't really dig diagonally with this because it's a cube. So I have to dig in this weird, like, zigzag pattern. Yeah, the voxel meshes, they also definitely need some work. This is, unsightly. Let's fix that. There we go. Now you can see some of the real bioluminescent stuff I was talking about. Take a look at that. I mean, that is just fantastic. That is right up with Subnautica. Just the level of detail, the way everything glows in different colors. I love it. I love it. However, unfortunately for these plants, they're flammable, so yoink, yoink, yoink.
I don't understand. A factory the size of a city is supposed to be here.
Oopsie.
It was right here. I know it was. Where is everybody?
Also, you can't stand on the lily pads. 0 out of 10. These remind me a lot of the ghost trees from Subnautica. Alright, here we are at Mining Base Victor. Free stuff. Oh yeah, the flatten tech. So there are a couple of different modifications you can find to the mole. I haven't found anything that makes it more satisfying to use yet. But there are, you can like flatten terrain, you can return some terrain to the environment. But you gotta be careful because in the beginning, anything you break is really hard to fix.
This terminal is trying to reach out to 100 facilities that might not exist anymore. If we can repair it, we might be able to decipher where those facilities are located. Our people are out there, just like we were. I wouldn't ask you to rebuild this sector for the expedition, but I will ask you to do it for them. The faster we get on these signal and repair objectives, the better our chances of finding them will be. Right now, you should either get started on a local mining operation to make ingots, or start looking into how to make those Kindle vine stems. If you check the chest near Victor, you might find enough power floors to decipher the first signal. We definitely need new types of machines to make the goods this terminal's looking for, and those signals seem like our best shot at finding them.
Alright. So as you can see, non-priority tasks will no longer track automatically. So we're effectively on our own now. We've beaten the tutorial. From here, I'm going to switch back to my other file. That way you can see I've already got a little bit of a base going there. And then I'll show you some of the more advanced stuff. Alright, we are back in my other file. So you can see I've already flattened out some of the area over here because I was planning to go ahead and drop some of the power floors here. I've also got a lot more stuff in this file. I dug through a couple of those chests on the side and got an upgrade for the mole, so it is a little quicker at digging and lasts longer. It doesn't heat up quite as fast. So let's flatten this area out, pick up some of these plants, and then we'll put down some power floors. Bap. Boop. Pop. The music is so chill. I love it. Yoink. There is base building. It's not super in-depth. Like, you know, there's not enemies to defend against or anything. There's no food meters to take care of. It's more about just setting places for your factories. So these floors transmit power. So it's important to have them just for that reason. But we still need to scan a generator, which means we're going to need to look around to try and find a broken one. I haven't actually explored this area much, so you'll be seeing it for the first time, same as me. The exploration in this game is kind of linear still. Usually, if there's an area that you're meant to dig through, there's a wall of dirt. And that's very against the idea of something like Subnautica, where free-form exploration is big.
Local signal deciphered. Ingress RH1979. Report to production terminal radio for triangulation.
I could have figured it out eventually. Here's more mining drills. Man, just the style is phenomenal. Oh yeah, I found a schematic before for a hover pack. I still need to scan like a broken one, but just the fact that there is a hover pack in the game is pretty cool. There is a tunnel over here. Ooh, this place is pretty. But is there anything useful in here? Because we're... Oh, here we go. What do we have here? This looks like an elevator. It is, in fact, an elevator. What do you got?
Unauthorized equipment detected.
Unauthorized?
This looks like a standard field setup for drilling a new shaft, but there are two problems with it. The first problem is that we're at the end of the line. The only thing below here is the core, and this shaft doesn't look like it was cut large enough for freight anyways. The second problem is that nobody asked me first. That's a much bigger problem. If whatever they were up to here was bad enough that they thought I would report it, it must have been very wrong or very dangerous.
Well, seeing as we're supposedly miles underground, digging down into whatever this core thing is, doesn't seem like that big of a deal, unless, you know, it's like going to melt down the whole planet or something. The fact that you don't know what drilling the core could do concerns me more than the fact that they were going after it. Suit speed 3. Okay, so there are...
Can you do me a favor? Check the radio at that giant exclamation point on your HUD. You might not be close enough to hear it beeping, but I can hear it. I hear it everywhere. At full blast.
You talk too much. Ah, so you see that green dot down there? I want it. Yeah, so this is what I was mentioning. It's really hard to dig down. I'm trying to dig down here, and I don't know if it's just stopping me because I shouldn't be digging down. No, it's not. Like, I have to be pointing almost straight down to dig down. And you can pretty much only dig down if you're standing on top of what you're digging down. It makes it very difficult to dig things like stairs. Oh, this is about to be a whole process. I'll dig this thing out later, because I don't think you guys want to sit here and watch me dig a giant pit. Another thing about the drill, this is a path I dug, by the way. If you notice that coolant bar right in the middle there, like, that's very obtrusive. You're definitely going to want to move that.
Signal triangulated. New location added to HUD. Exceptional dimensions.
Exceptional dimensions? Meaning what exactly? Are you going to tell me where it is? Or did I just got... Oh, I see. Okay. Ah, power generators. Lots of them.
Hey, a battery pack. Sorry, an accumulator substation. I'll try to go easier on the recon slang. It might help you guess at what those signal names are short codes for. Accumulators won't matter for a while, but get in the habit of scanning anything and everything you find in places like these. It can only help.
I know what a battery pack is. That's not too complicated for me to understand.
If anyone else is still around, they wouldn't be here. These places were pretty much built and left alone.
Ooh, that's cool. Can I build these? Oh, I'll just take them then. Alright. You know. Hover pack. Okay, well, we got a few things out of there. I kind of want to build this hover pack. Actually, I really want to build this hover pack.
Task inbound. Hover pack. Increases standard altitude for enhanced planning and exploration.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Hover pack equipped. Jump twice in rapid succession to initiate liftoff.
I will do that. Oh. Yo. Okay, so there's like a time limit on it. If there's gonna be a time limit, I want a bar that tells me how long I can hover for. Oh, maybe not. Maybe there isn't a time limit on this. Whee! Ah! Oh, okay, so there's a height limit. So I can hover above stuff at a certain height, but if I... Yeah, okay, so if I, like, come down off of these rocks, it drops me down. That's alright. I like that. Alright, so we did get those generators. Let's go ahead and plop those down and see what we can do with them.
Task inbound. Crank generator. Activate with manual or automated rotation to produce electricity.
Oh, I guess we can automate these as well. So do I have to sit here and crank this now? Oh, we cranked it. We did it. Can I scan this one now that I've set it down? No. I gotta find a broken one. Alright, I see how it is. Well, I'll admit, we've ignored a lot of what the game's been telling us to do, but I think this is probably a good place to leave it. I don't want to dive too much into the story because I don't want to spoil it for you if you're interested in playing it yourself. Speaking of which, if you want to take this game for a spin, it's down in the description. Remember, it's still in very early access, so there's going to be a lot that's going to be changing. But my thoughts on the game, the graphics are really good. The voxel meshes need some work. You may want to spruce up your metal textures a little bit, but as far as like the bioluminescent and the plants, spot on. I love it. Again, the environments are going to want to be redone a bit because, not because they look bad, but because there needs to be a bit more incentive to explore. This game is a bit handholdy, especially in the early stages. You noticed earlier when I was walking around, even though I was, you know, it said that I was off the rails, it was still telling me, hey, go to that thing on your map. Hey, go to that thing on your map. They're going to want to ease off on that, especially once you get past that first area. The other thing is the sound effects. Like hovering, there's no sound effect at all, which is okay, because it might get a little annoying in long term. But at least when I take off, maybe a little whir sound or a rocket pack kind of sound. When I started up the generator, there wasn't a cranking noise or anything. There's a lot left to add, and it's an early access, so I won't rag on it too hard. But these are the things the developer's going to want to look at. But I'm the voice in your head. Thanks for listening, and you're going to be hearing from me again real soon. See you, everybody.